Hello there, survivors, and welcome back to another live stream or video in ARK Survival Ascended, and we're back on Lost Colony. We are finally here on Lost Colony. I guess it depends on whether you've already seen a little bit or not. So today, we're going to be building something. We're going to see how well we can put those new Lost Colony structures into effect. I found a little place here in the start of the city. It's kind of like the outskirts, the ruins. You can build here, at least on PvP settings. I'm not sure if you'll also be able to build here on PvE. I've not checked yet, but we're gonna do some building. We're gonna see if we can make a nice little workshop that you could live and survive out of early game. That is the plan. That is what we're gonna do. So actually, I can show you. This is the little spot that I want to build in. So it's in between existing buildings, but as you can see, let's actually zoom out a little bit. They're quite in ruin, so it feels like it's fair enough to build something new. There should be just enough space in between those buildings, which will make it feel like we're living in a big city. And realistically, maybe you'd be able to rebuild some of those. I don't know. I am very jealous though of these architecture of these structures. Like, these windows would have been absolutely perfect. This is exactly what I wanted and needed, and these like little railings would have been amazing. That's not quite what we got in the structure set, but we'll try our best. We'll see if we can make it work. So it's actually relatively close here to where the teleporter is, which leads you into the city. So that is where I am located right now. Hello there, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. Squirrel! Hello, hello. Have you already jumped in? Are you still downloading it? Or are you sleeping because you waited up? I don't know. There we go. So yeah, we are in the city. We are gonna be building something. So for the coordinates, by the way, it would be right over here. So it is pretty much the dead center of the map, just in front of where the actual city begins. I think there's usually not really any patrols right over here. I did see some patrols a little bit further up, closer to the teleporter. Yeah, there we go. There is some patrols going on here. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. Because I don't know why, but for some reason, I was just flying around in creative. And now I'm hostile. So they don't like me anymore. Luckily, I am in creative and they ignore me, but somehow I've already pissed them off. So whatever you do, if you want to live in or close to the city, you better be careful, because apparently quite easy to piss them off. It doesn't go away. It doesn't seem to be on a timer or anything. So I don't know. I guess they just hate me now, and I will have to live with that and, you know, deal with it, I suppose. All right, let's grab a few materials. I think we'll just build it out of metal just to be sure. Should we? I don't know. Might as well. I've got all those structures ready. It's not really. Maybe we should not do that, because if it's going to be starter, that is, you know, maybe not. Yeah, Rockwell probably should fight Rockwell. I guess stone and wood would be more appropriate. We're gonna skin it anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. But it might make more sense. Why? Oh, great. It's not responding to my controls. There we go. Gotta love it. So yeah, there do seem to be some slight issues with servers, as in there is some like memory leak issues apparently. So far I'm fine when I'm on the server. It seems as soon as I log out, the server stays up for a little bit before just being like, nope, I can't deal with this, and just shutting itself down for some reason. So yeah, that is interesting to be sure. All right, let's see. Where is the sun? going. Let's make it a little bit earlier in the day, so we have some early day sunlight. So yeah, this is the area that we're working with. I've kind of cleared it up already, and yeah, we're just going to be building like a little workshop area. So I think we're going to start by blocking out some kind of foundations first, and then I guess we can go into, well, making it look nice. So I think this is going to be kind of the main building area, I think. So maybe we make that like 5-ish. Maybe 5 by 5 is big enough. Because that's not, wow, that's already pretty big, to be honest. But then we could get some nice depth in there if we do like a smaller addition in this side. There we go. And then potentially we could have like a little workshop out here, maybe. Just seeing how big we'd like to make that. Maybe like 3, something like that. I guess that could be nice. We'll see. Let's get rid of this little foundation spam we had trying to do it. Yeah, it is gonna get covered in snow, but that's pretty much all of the map, which hopefully they'll look into. They'll maybe introduce some kind of way to at least be able to remove it on the inside of your buildings. Maybe just give us the option to like clean the structures. I mean, there's cosmetics that can do that, so I'm sure they can figure out a way. But yeah, it is a little bit annoying for sure that pretty much all of the map, there's a few spots where there's no snow, but very much the majority is once again going to be covered in snow, which certainly is interesting. There we go. So kind of, this is kind of the shape that I'm thinking about. Yeah, I think that will work. Hello there. Welcome in. Welcome in. So I think maybe we start out by working on the workshop itself. I think we can actually keep that quite simple. Maybe something like that would already be sufficient. Actually, because I don't, wait, I need to test something. What does this look like with the Gothic skin? I guess that's not too bad for ramps. We can definitely do that. There we go. So yeah, we are just going to have like a little roof here so that we have a nice little workshop out here. And then we just want to add in that little bit of overhang, of course, to make it look nicer. There we go. This would then, of course, already help transform it. At least there's less snow visible on some of these Gothic structures. The roof definitely will have its marks, but I mean, that is the roof. I'm okay with the roofs having a bit of snow coverage. That makes a lot of sense being there. I mean, see, they can do it because they know there's not going to be any snow on the bottom. So surely, hopefully, they can make some kind of detection that this should now not be covered by snow. Or maybe if you place like fireplace or forges or campfire, something like that. Maybe that could remove it. Hello there, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. So yeah, I think then what we would probably want to do is add a little bit of the railings going around. You can get those nice looks in there. I mean, that is already pretty nice looking, I'd say, for just these sides. There we go. Just want to make sure that it is a little bit more supported. So I think at least on the outside ones, we'll definitely want to add in these. There we go. Flora Moderna skins matching the Gothic. I mean, there is some elements there that you might be able to blend in, for sure. Let's see. Do I want to have kind of like a walkway around the house, maybe? Kind of like this. It could be nice. Right? Then maybe something like that. I don't know. Potentially that could be a thing. Oh, they have a different rotation as the house, but I guess that doesn't really matter too much. Stream should be fine. Yeah. So then for the building, you know, we'd have probably this high of a build here. So just not like massive. Especially since we'll probably want to create some kind of layering for this build. Speaking of, I think I probably also want to have those there. We want to have some pillars, of course, supporting these, especially because there's quite some cool shapes to these pillars. In fact, I actually think I'd go as far as to say I want to have some of these half pillars. I might do something here, though. There we go. So at least for these, that entrance, definitely we want to have those. Yeah, I can see the vision. So it's a 3x3 wide building here, so we need some more stone structures in here. We're gonna need a few quarter ceilings along the side, and that's gonna be the same over here. I guess that means we'd want to have those skinned as well. I mean, I'm gonna start out by just using as much of the new skin as possible, but yeah, we'll kind of see if we want to keep that, or maybe we want to try blending in some of the different skins that we have. I think I want to keep it vanilla though, so I want to keep it official skins for this build. But maybe some of the steampunk things you'd be able to mix in quite good as well. Frontier is always nice if you want some extra wood textures in there. Okay, then we have the roof. I quite like this roof. I just really wish there would have been a a window variant for this. That would have been very nice, but I guess we weren't allowed any windows. So yeah, that would be kind of the roof. And then I think potentially what we could do is, and this is just a thought, because there's not really any spiky skin for the these Lost Colony structures, but I think that these from the steampunk ones can still kind of serve that purpose. So that could be a good option. Okay, so that would be the building. And what I'm thinking of is, like, I know this wouldn't be like proper full windows, but if you change it to these variants, it does kind of look like they are windows. So I definitely think that is an option, because it looks like those could be 4 windows. The only downside, of course, is it's not actually going to give you any light on the inside. But it could have been so great. Like, imagine if that was like stained glass. That would have been lovely. Absolutely lovely. All right, let's see. Do we maybe want to use some thin ones here? Because we might want to have a little bit extra on top of these. I might need a separate wall or temporary wall for that. So maybe we kind of have something like that going on. There we go. That is pretty nice, I think. Which also means that I guess this layer just is going to be full walls. I might do some actual windows here, because otherwise I'm really going to be lacking any sorts of lights inside. There we go. Oh, I guess maybe I don't want to rotate the windows. Normally I always want them to open in that orientation, but I guess that doesn't really work with this skin, so I kind of want to just keep it as is so that the pattern matches up a little bit better. There we go. I mean, I feel like that blends in pretty nicely with the architecture of the city. I mean, it's obviously not a very big building. It is more, again, it is meant as a kind of like starterish base. But I do like the idea of that. I might want to switch this around a little bit. Could we do that? I guess we could. I would love to make this part a little bit more interesting. So I think what we'll try is bring out some corner pieces here. Like that. So that we can have a little bit of an entrance going on, I suppose. Yeah, I guess we don't need those necessarily. Just want to have porters. Let's see. Let's see if we can make this work, because that would just give us a little bit more interest and detail on this side of the roof, you know, kind of break up the layers. I'm quite a fan of just, you know, starting to shape the build and then be like, oh, I'd like some extra details here. Like, what can I add to break up those walls? And I think just doing this kind of breaks up those lines quite nicely and adds a lot more interest to it. Could even rotate these, to be honest, if we want some different effects. Like ideally we would of course have this overhang, but I think it's too big to do that over here. So can we... oh, that's not the roof we want to use. We want to use these. The only downside I think to these is that they don't have the top bit, which is a bit of a shame. But I think if we... oh wait, did they add angles for these things now? Yeah, looks like they did. Although they still can't snap to the roofs. Can I get the normal angle? Yeah, there we go. Nope. That one. There we go. I mean, that still works. That still works. And then I guess you'd have those pillars coming down. As an extra bit of detail. I guess we kind of could just have that. There's a little bit of support there. I think that looks quite nice. And then I guess we could just have this going on. There we go. Then we have the whole walkway covered, I think. Meeting up with the city street here. Yeah, I think I like that. That adds quite some nice interest here to this side of the building. And then I think here for the entrance, we probably kind of want to keep this going a little bit. As in, probably want to move the entrance over there. Can we have a window there in the corner? I think that would be quite nice to do. And then I guess... would we just continue this above? Because would you really do anything? I mean... you could. Could you use this space? It is very tiny. But I guess technically you could use this space if you really wanted to. You could have something in there. Hello there. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, so if you really wanted to, you could. So we'll give you the option to utilize that space. So yeah, I think if we do all of this, that's going to create the first layer. I guess these windows aren't really going to let in any light, are they? They very much do not let in any light whatsoever. There we go. But that does look quite cozy like this. And of course, we could always try to go for maybe that, because then it kind of looks like there's a window as well. I think that is a possibility. And I think the other side, probably what we'll do is just a very simple kind of wall design. Nothing too crazy. Just a nice little wall here. And I think I might go for some more fake windows. I think that might be my way of coping. The only problem is with the inside, of course. I might, for the inside, I might want to do this so that they're both the same in some cases. So everywhere where I don't want to have a window, I want to change those variants, I suppose. There we go. That makes the inside a little less busy as well. That's probably quite helpful. So yeah, that's the little side corner of the building. But yeah. I wouldn't say necessarily they're getting worse. It's just that they're very specific and very busy, so it's harder to combine. The Frontier one was very neutral, which meant that you had the complete creative freedom. And I think there's probably more to gain from these when you start like playing around with paint and stuff. I just wish we would have had at least one like cool window variant with stained glass. Or something like that. Like, look at that. Look at that. Give me that. Yeah, honestly, the structure set based on the actual runes here would have been really good. That would have been really, really good. Okay, so now we have that little side building. We kind of need to work out the workshop here, which I'm guessing is just going to be something like this. We can't really do a stairs corner. That would have been quite nice, but that does not exist within ARK. I mean, this city already kind of has everything I'm asking for. Alright, so yeah, we have the little workplace, and this is probably where I would have some forges and stuff. You know, maybe we'll add that later, but yeah, we'll have some forges, etc. Would we have an entrance here? I'm not sure if we would actually have like a full entrance here. Why am I stuck? ARK. Don't be arcing now, please. Just let me be. Oh, god dang it. There we go. Alright, so let's see. What would be the height of the building? I think it's just going to be 3 high. I think that's all we need to change from the first one to kind of get the desired effect, I think. There we go. So this is it's a 5x5 building, which is, I mean, it's still going to be a decent building, honestly. It's not like going to be a small base. It's still going to be quite decent in size. Yeah, they do give like dark tech vibes. It's harder. I wish we would have gotten the, I mean, even if we had a 2 variants like this stone based one, I feel like that would have been very nice. That would have been amazing. So if there's mod makers out there, Want to collab in on the ultimate Gothic Steam pack or skin pack? That would be greatly appreciated. I've got plenty of suggestions, but I have no skills. I can only build. Okay, let's see. The only downside of this roof would be... No, I guess that's not too much of a downside, actually. Because I guess... Because it's 5 by 5 right now, so we would have to extend it a little on the side. But that's actually totally fine. Ooh, that is... But I don't need to do that, actually. I could just do... this. I could do a half one. And that solves all my problems. Okay. Let's see, because we might do some additions to the side, of course. Again, we're going to first kind of just shape up the building, and then we're going to add some details to make it look just the way we want. And, you know, have all the life and character we'd like to see. There we go. We can bring these across. Probably should skin those right away before I forget. We don't need them there. Probably should do the same over here. Yeah, the snow effect is gonna be rather annoying to have everywhere. Also, it would have been quite nice to have a variant of the roof where you could remove the little top bit. And again, no variant there, so that is a bit of a shame. Okay, let's just fill in the roofs for now, just to kind of block it out, and then we can do it as we did the first part of the building, where we kind of look at it and be like, okay, we want to add this over here, this over there, to shape it and make it all nicely detailed. And we shouldn't forget about the back just because we built it against the side of a cliff. Probably still want to make it look nice. There we go. I mean, it is blending quite nicely into that gap in the city. Does feel like I've built the whole city already, but oh no, just a tiny building. But yeah, definitely works. So yeah, this corner of the build is definitely just going to be full on walls, I would say. That makes a lot of sense in my mind. So that is what I'll do. Just to give those a bit of their proper structure already. Like what I'm thinking, potentially, it doesn't make necessarily the most sense where I build it because I kind of build it against the side of a different building. But let's say you're just building it out somewhere in the open. Then you could probably make sure that you have maybe a dino gate over here, so that some of your tames at least would be able to go inside. Right, that might be nice. And also, I'm kind of curious to see what this is going to look like blended in with the side of a building, to be honest. Because on its own, it's quite a nice gate, but it maybe doesn't necessarily lend itself very well for this. You know what we'll actually do? Instead of all this, what I've just done... no, actually, we could keep those, but what we'll do is... I'll bring it out a little bit more. And again, it's not working perfectly because I build it in the city, but if you would build this by itself, I think this could work quite well. Okay, let's see. Okay, first of all, yeah, it's so busy. It's very busy as a skin. So I definitely want to use more of those. It's kind of the same issue as we had with the steampunk skins, where it's just very busy if you use a lot of it. Because of all the cool texturing they've done. It looks really cool on its own, but combined it is quite busy. But luckily we do have these cleaner variants. That definitely helps making it a little bit more neutral. And I think now if I have the gates out here, I mean, honestly, I don't need it to be that much outward, actually. I think I kind of just want to have it closer to the building. So actually on the inside, I could probably just keep the normal foundations and just add these on the outside. I think somehow my pillar went missing. So yeah, because now what we could do is we just bring out these little quarter walls again. And then, of course, we could have the staircase on the side. And then we would have our gate at the very end. Can we not snap those 2 quarters? That is annoying. But I guess we can still solve that. Just a little bit differently, I suppose, than we expected. So we should be able to take... Oh, that we lost the wall there. So I guess we did need the quarters after all. I did not know that we could not snap them to the normal structure. So I guess you would want this shape. There we go. Yeah, it would be nice if this has had a empty wall on the inside too. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. So we want to do that over here. Bring these out like so. Skin those up. There we are, both sides. And then what we want to do is add in our gateway, because I think it's going to be quite a nice little detail here on the side, because it is a very nice gateway. I think we can utilize it a lot better this way. And what we could even do is create like a little bit of a... That's too steep. There we go. That might work. So a little bit of the quarter rems on top should still kind of preserve as much of those nice spikes on the outside, and kind of add some extra 3D effect to that side of the build. Then I'd probably want to add some pillars over here in those corners. You don't see a lot of it, actually. See a lot less of it than I would have hoped for. But it does make for quite a nice addition there. And then I think we want to start filling in these. We can't connect them straight to the roof, so we're going to have to play nicely with our structures. And I suppose... I mean, I guess we could kind of shape it up. But honestly, we're probably just going to have ceilings on this layer if we want to add in another layer. So then we might as well just keep this going. There we go. Oh boy. Come on, ARK, keep up with me, please. I'm too fast, too good for ARK. Can I do anything yet? There we go. So I think these we want to change to the normal variant. Yeah, those don't have one. And I think those we want as actual windows. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then we have added a little bit of interest to that side by having that gate stick out a little bit instead of keeping it totally flat, which definitely I think is a nice addition. And then I mean, we could probably start by changing these walls. There we go. All gonna be the default ones, or not the well, yeah, the default look, but the second option, I suppose. All right, so for this side of the build, probably go for something similar, although we don't do that, of course. We need to get those in the right place first. That will be the deciding factor. So then we want to bring these walls across. I mean, it's probably just going to be like that because there's not a lot we can add to the top layer, of course, because we already have pretty much everything in place over here. Okay, so those we probably want to have the same on both sides, and then these, I guess we want to have fake windows again. It's all going to be fake windows. I do like them as fake windows. That is probably the best usage of them. I just wish I wish it was stained glass. It really would have been amazing if it was. There we go. I mean, it is already looking quite nice in my opinion. I do like these additions of the steampunk railings. Would have been great if we had some yeah, like matching spikes. And again, there is already examples out there. That would have been great. There we go. I don't think the extinction ones would fit my needs in this moment. They're a little bit too rough and broken. But yeah, that's a good start. I like the layering again on this build so far. And now that we know that this is an entranceway that you can bring in like gathering tames, that means that this should kind of be your storage area where you drop things off, and then you can move them on into different parts of the build, of course. And then I guess this could be maybe more crafting related, and then we could have, you could have like a bedroom up here, I suppose. Which probably means we could have a nice door in here. There we go. We're definitely gonna need some some kind of lights in here because it's gonna get very, very dark. Oh, and I wish there wasn't snow on the inside. I really hope they do something about that. Because it is a little bit of a shame. Actually, what I might want to do is add a fireplace. Because we definitely, you know, it is cold out there. So we wanna stay cozy. What do we do? Because this is where it makes sense, but actually it also makes sense over here. So maybe we have a secret wall so that you could technically still use the storage behind it. And then we could have that guy over here. And then maybe we'll spawn some meat. We'll spawn a little pyromane. Oops, he's outside. And then we'll have a way to power our flames. There we go. We'll put you in here. You can rest. You can be passive. You can get all the meat I have. And then you should be able to power my flame. There we go. Melt away the snow. Imagine how cool that would be. That would be an epic moment right now. If we saw the snow melt away. The fireplace has a use, but no. Unfortunately, even the fireplace is covered with snow. Yeah. Too bad. Too bad. What's happening to the weather outside? There we go. But yeah, I think that is a nice little addition. Actually quite like that you can still see the chimney a little bit sticking over the back there so that we can see it here too. Probably gonna have a few more chimneys, or at least one more up in this build, I think. But yeah, so far I'm not too mad about it. Yeah, I'd really love some stained glass. That would really be life-saving. But in the absence of it, what will we do instead? So if we think this will be where we have most of our storage, why don't we have something like this? Oh, no, not that one. Something like that over here. We could have them the other way around. I don't know what is going to look nicer. Yeah, both are kind of fine. Especially if we consider that this is going to be a thing still. Whether I placed a roof somewhere besides that one. There we go. It is here somewhere. And we don't need it there. So yeah, we at least know that we want to reach the door here, but I also thought that this might be higher. So maybe this is kind of like an in-between layer. But then if I do this... No, that still kind of works. That still kind of works. So yeah, we could totally have this. And of course on the inside I might actually switch some of this to wood. In fact, most likely I will do. Although... yeah, because it's very techy. So maybe let's take out some frontier skins. Let's see if we blend in some wood here on the inside. If that makes it a little bit more cozy as well. I think we could definitely do this. There you go. Yeah, sometimes there's less snow. It's quite weird, isn't it? Okay, so let's see if we have ceilings here. That would mean we have quite a bit of space up here. Do we want to have a wall there? Do we just keep it kind of open? I'm not entirely sure. I guess the very end is just going to be quarter walls. There we are. Okay. So far that makes quite a bit of sense, I think. Then we would have these kind of dividers, I suppose, if we want a wall here. Which, I mean, it does make it a little bit more tricky. But I guess you could make some rooms. You know, if you want to make it a bit more cozy inside. And we're not allowed to place anything anymore. Of course. You know. Keeping. There we go. Okay. So we would have this. We actually made it pretty difficult for ourselves by doing this. I think what we need to do is kind of work with that different grid. But that is pretty tricky. I think if we do this, that should work. We should now be on the right kind of grid for this. And actually, it would be pretty nice as well if we maybe add like a little opening here, which for now at least I guess brings in some extra light. We could fill in these. Oops, not a door, but a wall. So yeah, this would be a wall then. Yeah, those would have to be the quarter pieces. Then we should be able to add a wall there. Add a slope wall here. And then I guess all that remains to be done is fill in these little gaps. And then, yeah, we could totally have more frontier there. We can, of course, fill all of these in. Get a bit of wood going on in this building. There we are. And then I suppose it would kind of make sense to just have the staircase go up here. Kind of like that. Awesome. So yeah, we'll blend in a little bit more details for these staircases to make them a little bit nicer. There we are. I think that works. So yeah, we can go into the one room here to the side. We can have another room up here where I probably also want a fireplace. Yeah, why not? Why not there? There we are. So yeah, probably want to keep a lot of these walls as neutral as possible. Some of those, of course, we can't really change, so they're going to stay the same way. But yeah, that gives us an extra fireplace right there in the middle of the roof, which I think is quite nice. I think that's going to be the additional detail on this side. And then on the other side, we'll add in an extra detail here on the roof. And yeah, we can do something rather simple, I think. Oh, actually, I need these walls before I can snap those quarter roofs to it. There we are. No, actually, wanna. Why can I not? I cannot copy those over. Okay. Let me just grab the steampunk then. Get those in place. Get the roof in place. And now this is where I really wish we would have had some kind of glass wall variant for these Lost Colony Gothic skins. Because if these were actual, I mean, I'm gonna keep saying this, guys. If those were actual windows, like stained glass windows, that would have been amazing. Like all of this, be actual windows. Please, someone make that. Could you just make that as a skin? Like just make this as a. I guess you would have to have like Lost Colony bought, but I would be fine with that as a mod. Just a custom cosmetic that changes those walls to be functioning windows. That'd be pretty nice. There we go. So that means that room now has plenty of detail. So the one side gets the fireplace, the other side gets a little window. I mean, it does kind of work having a little bit of wood in there and create windows that way, I suppose. So if we wanted to create some extra lights, what we could do, we could have that. Yeah, the add-on cosmetic. I might look into that, honestly. See if that's potentially a thing that could be done. That would be nice. There we go. So yeah, we're adding a little bit of wood here on the outside as well, just to have those windows in with some light. Which I think actually works quite well. Because it just gives it a bit of a wooden accent on these top layers. There we go. I mean, is quite cozy for a little gothic house, I'd say. It's pretty cozy in general. So yeah, this would be storage. Would I want to have anything built over here? Well, the issue is that we kind of have an overhang. I was going to say I could build like a little greenhouse, but the greenhouse wouldn't really be very functional. Maybe it could be, though. Let's see. Greenhouse. I guess you'd have... Oh, well. Normally, hopefully that would fit. I guess I kind of ran out of space here. Yeah, but I guess you could do that. You could add a little bit of a greenhouse to the back if we want to have everything we might need. And this is the way. I guess now it wouldn't really be quite effective because of that, but otherwise it should. Because we kind of have a gaping hole in the back of our greenhouse. But yeah, I think... I don't know if I like it actually. Again, we would need better glass skins. I guess you could just not make it look like not like a greenhouse. You could just have normal walls, I suppose, if you really wanted, because it would be quite practical, of course, because there's also some new plants on the map, so maybe we go for some of these. What does... I guess we could do that. Keep that going, but then probably... Oh, we already had the red variant. Probably we would still want to add a little bit of an overhang and possibly even a little bit like this around the outside. Just to get the full shape and detail going. There we go. Pillar on the corner. I mean, it is quite nice, of course, if you can have a little starter base that includes everything. So even a little greenhouse at the back. And at least part of it should be pretty effective, right? And I imagine if the wall was closed, it might be fully functional. I don't know how functional it's going to be now, because it's kind of in a weird spot with that going on. I mean, it's pretty decent for the gap being there. I think if we wouldn't have that gap, like, can I fix that gap? Let me try ghosting in the wall. I don't want to show you my password. Okay, so now this all is greenhouse. It did go up. Not quite sure why it wouldn't be full. But that is not too bad. Hello? Okay, then not. Can I please finish my... There we go. So I guess we'd want to fill in this wall at least. We could just kind of skin it all. We would have our door in here, of course. And then I'd probably just want to have that as a blank wall. Did this change anything? That did. Yeah, so this is fully effective. So that's quite nice. Having a little bit of a greenhouse at the back. Like, I mean, and I guess from the outside, if it wasn't facing a cliff, it would just add a slight little addition, make that side a little bit more interesting, and you'll have a greenhouse. So we have a greenhouse, and then we have like the main storage in here, crafting and storage, I would say, on this layer, and then we have 2 rooms up here. We have potential bedroom, and then we have another room here for whatever you want to use it for. So pretty decent. I think for practicality, we would probably want to have at least a door here. And then I think most of these walls we just want to kind of fill in. Because you would want to place a bunch of storage against those. Because that would be quite cool. And I think, I mean, that's not tall enough. Because that would be quite nice. Although maybe, I guess, it could have one right over there. Just as a little part of the workshop. So let's get some forges out here for the looks. A smithy. There we go. Because yeah, that's just kind of what I would imagine this workshop would be really good for. It would be all the early game things like this. I'd even say we'd want to have... Oh, is this crashing? This might be me crashing. Well, there we go. That's fun. Half of you have not given a thumbs up. There, yeah. Give a thumbs up, please. Give some support for Lost Colony. Lost Colony builds coming. And I'm coming back soon, hopefully, if my game lets me back in. Oh, man. We were so close. So close. The build's almost there. No, I don't think there's any skins for the utilities, which is really a big shame, to be honest. That would have been pretty nice. I mean, I've been saying that for all these, like for the Frontiers and all of the skins. It would be really nice if you could make all of your utilities blend into the same style. Just so that, you know, it all fits together nicely. You don't have to kind of have like a dirty room where you have all of the things that don't blend in with your vibe. So that would be nice. All right, let's see if I can join it. Especially for this. This was a big new DLC pack. Yeah, would have been great. There we go. Let me see if I can join my server again. We can finish our build. But yeah. It's still pretty fun. I mean, looking at the first little build we've done so far, it's not too bad. Like, I do think it looks quite nice. And it does blend in quite nicely with the city. Of course, yes, there's definitely things I would have loved to have had as an addition to what we got. But all in all, we can still definitely make some fun builds with it, I think. Alright. Should be good to go, and it should be back, so hopefully it won't crash again. That would be a shame. So yeah, we have our little work area here, workshop area. We'd definitely want a bit of storage going on because they actually have nice skins for those as well now. And I might even do a few of these boxes because again, there's quite nice skins for those. So maybe we do a few over there. There we go. It does all blend in together a bit. That is for sure. Okay. We do also have some of the new stuff, but I think that's all pretty late game. What is something you'd want to have here? Maybe you'd have like your cooking pot here. And I don't know. What else would you have here? Maybe some mortar and pestles. Which I guess would require maybe a table. No, that's a bench. There we go. Let's place one here. Yeah, a tech wrap would be nice to have in your starter base. There we go. At least the colony table doesn't get any. Oh no, it does have snow on the inside, doesn't it? That's weird. Is that snow? Yeah, there is snow. Doesn't have it on top though. There we go. That creates a pretty nice little workplace area, I think, where you could do some of your crafting and smelting. And I guess we want to have our smithy somewhere. Maybe we remove the cooking one and we have a smithy over there. Because I guess for the vibes, it wouldn't be too bad if we have like the cooking pot over here somewhere. There we go. Fire's lit. Okay, so I do think that underneath these corners, we'd want to have some pillar supports. There we are. All in all, I think that's looking quite nice. I kind of like it in building in like the gaps of the city. They do need to fix the inside not having snow for sure, because everything, even if there's roofs over it, still has snow. All of the structures, which isn't very nice. Doesn't look amazing. Do I want to have that maybe over here? Maybe I kind of liked what we had, or potentially we could bring in a little bit of red. There we go. It's quite nice. I mean, I kind of like it matches certain parts of the city pretty nicely. Yeah, it looks quite cozy as a little starter base. Again, I don't know how viable it is to build in the city. I have not survived on this map yet. But it looks like it fits in. It looks pretty fun. Why is there a tree here? I guess that's just a glitched tree that isn't really there, but I see it there. Like, I mean, this is a little starter base that offers you plenty of space, I think. I like this. I mean, personally, when I play, I like to have like a little crafting area on the outside. I think that's quite nice. And then you have, yeah, somehow the trees are now back and glitching through, but they should not be here. They probably won't be there the next time I log in. But for now, they are in fact here. Yeah, and I guess, you know, you could have maybe not three. Three might be pushing it a bit. You'd have those there, but you want to have some lights for sure, because we don't have actual windows. But what we could have is, of course, some Could already have one of them here. I guess I have no power, and these aren't powered by Pyromane. They need actual power. I could even have one on top of these. Just little extra details. And of course, we could even have some of these guys. Oh, I can place them just on the ground, so I could kind of just blend in with the city landscape here. But yeah, potentially we could have some right next to the entrance. There we go. And I think for now, what I'll probably want to do, just to get some power into this place, I could potentially just hide it in the ruin here somewhere. If I am allowed in. There we go. Should have some power now. So we can have some little lights. It is a bit weird to me that they have white lights, but we might be able to paint those to be more fitting for the way they look. But yeah, I think it's quite a cozy little build. In this evil city of vampires and everything. This looks quite cozy. Kind of looks maybe not too much gothic-y, except for the skins, but could easily have been like a building in like Skyrim or something. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I would survival in this. I would have this as my survival house base thingy. I could live in here. For sure. Yeah, easily. I like it. The gates. We have a gate over here. It's a little bit narrow because of where I build, but they are quite cool. They have like the cool little curve with the spikes on top. Which is quite nice. But yeah, we have a pretty nice place. Well, I'm not going to do the interiors because of the snow. That really does not sound enjoyable to me just because the snow's everywhere. But I think this is a pretty nice little build. Our first little build here on Lost Colony. Utilizing these skins. The fake window, I think, is one of the better options we've got. Wish it was a real window. Also, I wish that these windows were a little bit more see-through. They would actually let in a bit of light. Like the frontier skins, etc. I guess what we could even do if you want to have like... You could have like boarded up windows. You know, if you want to maybe be like half abandoned, you could add vibes like that. I don't know if you want to do that, but I guess you could, and that would potentially let in some light. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this vibe. I think it's quite nice. Let me just pretend to be crafting, and then we can have a little look-see at the building. There we go. I think that's quite nice. Let's take a nice screenshot of that. Maybe with a little bit more context of us being in the city itself. Yeah. I think... Oh, this one is a good angle. We can see the whole big walls and stuff. But yeah. I had some fun. I enjoyed working on that first little build here. Trying out these new Lost Colony skins. Again, definitely some things that I wish they would add or would have added, because I don't know if there's a very high likelihood of us getting more than we have right now, but at least you can do some pretty decent building with it. And I think as we spend more time with them, we might be coming up with some more tricks. But yeah, definitely the stained glass windows would be nice. Some things like these walls, I'm going to take screenshots for myself. That would have been absolutely amazing. This would be a great door to there's probably more elements. Like, just to be honest, looking at most of the existing infrastructure in this city, like even these, like there's a lot of good things here. Like even this, there is literally stained glass right here. That is amazing. That would have been epic. And oh, look at the details on these walls. Like imagine we got those as a set as well. That would have been amazing. That would have been really, really nice. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have all those extras. But I think we did pretty alright with what we have. I quite like it. So I hope you liked it as well. So this was the first little build here on Lost Colony. I'll probably be back tomorrow again with another build. We'll see what we can do then. Maybe do some more Gothic themed building and explore these new skins a little bit more. If you want to see me explore all the different structures as well as some of the possible build locations on the map, check out the stream I did a little bit earlier today. For now, I'm going to call it a day. And I hope to see you again in the next video or the next stream. And thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to see you very soon. Goodbye.